Alright, you know the whole houses are garbage and modern houses are falling apart and they're not made right? If you don't know, BreadTube has been circulating this around a little bit. You know, they're like, oh, Cy Porter, he's a good guy, he's a good house inspector. He inspects these new houses and he'll, take a screwdriver and it'll go straight through the wall and his fist will go straight through the wall. And it's like, oh no, the joists aren't stapled, the new houses are garbage and the old houses are built better and they're all made out of crap and everything's just garbage and the new houses are gonna blow apart and fall apart in the wind and they're the worst thing that's ever seen. Well, I hate to break it to you, but cheap construction and, stuff that falls apart and stuff that's meant to be replaced and just straight up garbage lying to the consumer and not getting your money's worth is, believe it or not only limited to houses now, but believe it or not, to cars. Alright, let's begin with a good old Sophia Petrillo back in Sicily story. Picture it. 2 days ago, I'm driving home, I'm in my Prius, it's a quiet neighborhood, and there's been an accident involving a 2022 Toyota Sienna. And I'm driving by, and then I see this. It's not this exact image, this is from Reddit. And I see it, and it's just like this wheel that's been shot, it's all scrunched, and I'm like, wow, what did they hit for an alloy? That shouldn't have broken that hard. Only to go home, look it up, and realize that, believe it or not, the Platinum $55,000 Toyota Sienna uses hubcaps as the main wheel. You see this wheel right here? This nice brushed alloy? It's not an alloy at all. In fact, it's just a cheap, shitty chrome plastic cover that's put on the actual wheels. Yes, that's right, ladies and gentlemen. Today we're going to be talking about how cars are constructed so bad now that they're like the new houses. They're just falling apart and it's not going to last at all. So let's talk a little bit more about the specific way companies save money, and that's making shit look nice. You see these two wheels? Look at them. Aw, twins. Toyota wheels. Both are alloy wheels. They just look great. You don't have to worry about the hubcap falling off. Except the one on your right is actually a hubcap. That's right. Now, this doesn't mean that the actual wheel isn't an alloy. It is, but the reason why the hubcaps are put on there, and believe it or not, they're glued on, which we'll get in a minute. This is a little screen grab from a video. I'll put the title up there if you want to watch it, or at least the person who made it. That way you can find it, because, it's a really, really good image to demonstrate what I'm talking about. It's still an alloy, it's just painted black. So why would Toyota do this if the alloy is already a similar shape and they could just make the alloy? First of all, it doesn't have all the intense details that the hubcap does. Number two, this wheel can be used across every single trim level. You just put different hubcaps on. And when I say put, I mean glue. We'll talk about that again in a second. I keep hinting at it. And three, well, that coating that's on that plastic is expensive. And especially for an alloy, you cut it, you have to polish it, you have to do a bunch of shit to make it look that nice. So why bother in the first place? Why not just paint it black and then glue this thing on top of it? So, gluing. Why would I say I'd hint at this later? Why is this, like, a bad thing? Well, let me explain it to you. First of all, think about it. Now, if this comes off, which eventually it will, think about it. Acidic brake dust, rain, slightly acidic rain, mud, car accidents. Eventually, these will loosen their way, or they will chip or crack like they did in that accident. And believe it or not, these are not hubcaps. They are glued on with industrial strength glue. And believe it or not, when it falls off, even if somehow, which I cannot find, you do find a new replacement that isn't black and that's original and made by Toyota, guess what? I bet you're not going to be able to glue it on with Elmer's, are you? So essentially, instead of just, having your car, which uses, regular hubcaps and going to AutoZone and slapping a new pair on and saying, oh, that looks good, it's fine, it's good enough, you can't do that anymore. You now have to walk up to the Toyota dealership, look like a moron, say, hey, shut up, my car, can I have more things? And then they have to glue it on with their industrial strength glue and probably even mail it back to the factory. Isn't that wonderful how they changed something that used to be so simple, so cheap, so fixable, so reliable, and turned it into this? And not only did they do that, they did it on a $55,000 top-of-the-range, beautiful Toyota Sienna. Beautiful Toyota, thank you very much. No longer can we have polished wheels, no longer can we have anything that's actually made of something, or that's polished, or where we take pride in our work. It all has to be the same stupid garbage, plastic crap, coated Chinese junk that we have to slap on every single just garbage. Everything has to be made out of hollow garbage, glued on crap. And the best part is, did you pay $55,000 to have glue-on, crappy-looking hubcaps? I bet not, but do you think Toyota's ever going to tell that to you? Of course not. And do you think you're ever going to be reaching around in the wheels to feel it? This is just one of the ways in which these car companies are swindling you out of your money. Another way is gauge clusters. Don't you just love gauge clusters? Our old Honda Odyssey, it's the one on the bottom left, had this like beautiful blue pattern and it could tell you which door was open. It was really nice and I drove that car for hours and hours on end. My eyes never got tired. It was great. The 2011 Toyota Sienna, that's the bright blue one above it. It's nice, It's a little bit digital, features some digital elements, not too hard on the eyes, very attractive, very well put together, very staged with the silver. You can tell they were proud of it, even if it does look a little wonky. The one to the right of that is the standard 2008 Volvo XC70 background. It's nice, First of all, you got the screens in the middle, and you got that little wraparound needle thing. It looks really pretty, really professional, looks very nice, doesn't strain your eyes. And then you have my 2010 Toyota Prius little infotainment digital gauge cluster thing. That uses mirrors, it uses reflectors, it uses a bunch of technology to make sure it looks great, that it's not too hard on the eyes, and essentially what they were doing was OLED before OLED. So essentially they just reflect the bright bits, and the dark bits just stay, where they are. So it's not really noticeable, and it looks more projected instead of just, screen in your face on all the time that bleeds light. Let me show you a modern digital gauge cluster. Believe it or not, this is the one on my car. This isn't, again, a specific picture. This is just a picture from the internet because I don't want you to know that my Volvo has 2,000 miles on it. Isn't she pretty? Imagine driving home seeing that. First of all, the needle isn't that responsive. None of the needles are really that responsive. It looks shitty and terrible having those little digital, but analog clusters like with the gas and the temperature. Or no, sorry, the gas and the, what is that? The shift thing? I don't know. I got rid of this thing as soon as it and swapped it for the older one on my car. And believe it or not, I found one that had the correct odometer reading, so it wasn't even an odometer rollback, so that was nice. Anyway, it just looks like shit, and they tried to put the silver thing around it. It just does not look good. It looks cheap. It's not an OLED screen, which means this is going to be shining in your eyes no matter what brightness it is. And all the stuff that you want to be bright, like the numbers and everything, they all look faded. Meanwhile, the black background looks like the sun, like the whitest thing you've ever seen, especially when driving at night. It's super noticeable. It's like someone shining a flashlight at your eyes. It is ridiculous. And you want to know why they did this? Which one do you think is more cost-effective? The one that's essentially like a fine-made Swiss watch, where it's got the little bend-around thing and the small little OLED screens and the button, or this, a gigantic iPad cheap screen with like an anti-glare thing on it with the silver thing, Elmer's glued around it, and then the two little, fake, what even are those LED light assembly things on the side? Which one do you think is cheaper? Of course it's this, and that's of course why they swapped it out. And there are a bunch, when I say PSYOP, I'm only half joking. I think it's a PSYOP to get people to say, oh, digital gauge clusters, I want those, because I would say my 2010 Toyota Prius also has a digital gauge cluster. That one's nice, that one's fantastic, it doesn't shine in your eyes when you're driving, it's not too bright, you can dim it, love that. This is just straight up garbage, gobbledygook, poop. We should have poop-de-whoop. We should have appreciated it when we had the analog gauges, because the digital ones look real bad. Now let's talk about the absence of buttons. I'm going to share with you my favorite radio and my favorite, little climate control thing. So, in my 2010 Toyota Prius, my favorite thing about it is that it's like a thermostat. You set it for what you want, you click auto, and then you never touch it again. It will literally adjust every single setting except for the defroster. You have to do all that. But it will adjust the fan speed, whether the AC is on, as long as you set the temperature. It will even adjust the mode based on what you're trying to do, and if it's cold outside, it reads it. It's great. I set it for 66 in the summer and 72 in the winter, and that's the only time I ever change it is twice a year, and the rest of the time it does everything I need it to, and the buttons are on the steering wheel if I do want to change it. That way I don't have to look down and actually interact with the interface. And on the Volvo S40, it had a, first of all, 6 CD changer, which was very impressive, and believe it or not, a high enough resolution screen where it could actually show you an image of the car. It was a small little 1x4 inch screen, I think. That was it. It looks about 1 inch, probably maybe 3.5 inches, somewhere around there. And it had a high enough pixel density to actually show you an image of the car. Both of these, they look kind of cheap, right? You'd look at them and you just say, oh, well, that's not really that important, it looks kind of crappy. Meanwhile, they both had great functions, they operated fantastic, they're both still working. My friend has the S40, I have the XC70, which is a different arrangement that I like a little bit less. And they're both still working to this day. Instead, we swapped both of these for this Happy Meal looking arrangement, which first of all is too bright, second of all, it's shitty. It just looks like a 24-inch Vizio D-Series TV that they slapped on there with the cheap little touch-sensitive capacitive thing that never works after 10 years. It just looks like shit. The resolution isn't that high. The passenger does not need their own screen. I will tell you, this is not even that good. My Volvo XC70 can play DVDs in park and up to 5 miles per hour. I have all of the Golden Girls sitting in my car, which I will watch as I'm eating Taco Bell at 2 o'clock in the morning after I get off of a shift, or I'm picking up a family member, or waiting for a doctor's appointment, I will literally watch the Golden Girls in my car on my infotainment system while I am sitting eating Taco Bell, and I love that. With this bullshit, the only thing you can do is fiddle around with it. It can't do anything. It's not useful. Having a DVD player is legitimately useful because I keep like season 4 of Desperate Housewives in there. It's great. I've seen it 8 times, and I swap with the season out whenever I finish it. It's just nice. I use it more than you think that I probably should. Anyway, the point is, it's bigger, but it's useless. This thing can't play DVDs. It can't do shit. It can just show you, it's a Mercedes. It can pair with your phone. I already have my phone. If I wanted to watch YouTube, I could watch YouTube on my phone at higher quality with better speeds. It's just so stupid. These photos are from a 2008 for the steering wheel XC70 and a 2017 for the, thing, which is what I have. I'm just using the XC70 a lot because, I drive one and I've seen a lot of them because it's kind of a rare community. Anyway, the point is, look at how great. Isn't she lovely? Isn't she pretty? Look at the wood. It's beautifully around the steering wheel. After that, they replaced it with black leather, which looked even better. The wood on the dash, the wood on the controls, shaped, cut, real beautiful wood. And this car was like $40,000 when it came out. It just looks great. Nowadays, and I think this is a psyop, they have replaced this beautiful wood that goes so well with the car with piano black bullshit, shitty, cheap plastic. This grinds my gears. I was a piano player. I played piano. I thought it was great. Took lessons for 10 years. Doesn't matter. The point is, the reason why you would have a piano black piano is because it hides dirt better and it hides imperfections in the wood. Wood! Black pianos are still made out of wood. They are just finished with lacquer that makes them ever so slightly black. Some of them are slightly more brown. Many of them are just black because, they're cheaper nowadays and they use coatings and sealants and stuff. But they are still made out of wood. Piano black plastic is not... If the purpose of making a piano black is to hide things like dirt and dust, then... a completely different thing. Piano black plastic in cars, which shows all the fingerprints, shows every single speck of dirt, isn't made out of wood. It is just cheap injection molded plastic with scratches. It's literally the opposite. It shows dirt more and it shows imperfections more. That's literally the opposite of what piano black is for. Piano black is to hide imperfections in wood. Not to be cheaply injection molded and not even polished, just injection molded in this little, cookie baking mold like thing so that it comes out all nice and shiny. It just doesn't look good at all. And this isn't just limited to interiors. I genuinely think automakers saying, people saying, I like the blackout package. I want the blackout package. I think that is absolutely a psyop by automotive makers. Think about it. A 1999 base Toyota Camry LE could come with pinstriping and a silver accent that went all the way around the windows. Nowadays, on a $40,000 maxed out Toyota Corolla Cross Hybrid XSE, it has a stupid blackout package. I have a question. Why do you think they want to make everything on the car black? Because the paint is cheaper. Why do you think they make the door handles black instead of chrome or silver or, not actual silver? God forbid, we couldn't actually get nice materials on a $50,000 car. Why do you think they make them out of black? Because the paint is cheaper. Black is the cheapest type of paint on wheels. Instead of coating them or polishing them or doing anything, painting them black is the easiest. So by them convincing you, I want this black, I want this stuff, that's how they sell it to you. Back in the 90s, having things be black was a sign of the base model, a sign of the worst one, the one that you didn't want. Nowadays, it's a sign of luxury and sportiness, and I think the auto industry 100% has something to do with that. Okay, this next thing literally makes me despise Toyota. It makes me think that Toyota is the worst and shadiest car company on the entire planet and that I should never buy another damn Toyota from these crooks ever again. Alright, well, getting that out of the way, I'm like the lady from Clue. Flames on the side of my face. I'm just so mad that Toyota would do this. The audacity to do this. So, in 2020, when the Toyota Highlander came out, and they actually needed people to buy it, they had an L trim level that started at $34,000 for the front-wheel drive and $36,000 for the all-wheel drive. Keep that in your brain. Well, slowly, they were like, this is introduced. All the people that want them have them. So you want to know what we're going to do? We're just going to gradually make it more expensive. But we need an excuse. We can't just, make the LE more expensive. So what we're going to do is just, drop the first 5, trims and then just make, the XLE the first package. Yeah, that's exactly what we'll do. Keep the number $36,000 in your head. Just keep it, or 34. 34.6. Keep that in your mind, just for a few more seconds. Oh, Toyota, you sneaky little shrew, you sneaky little harlequin, you little grouch. So angry. Starting at $45,800 8? Are you kidding me? It has been literally, like 5-6 years? It's the same generation of car. It's ridiculous. They didn't even add any more value. They just rose the price by killing off the cheapest trim levels. Are you kidding? We're so lazy, we can't even make up an excuse to charge you for more money? Are you kidding me? Oh, and by the way, not only does it cost, $45,000, $1,000 reduced to start. Believe it or not, look at the hybrid XLE, almost $48,000 as the second upstarting vehicle in 2026. Guess how much? And this is the cherry on top. Guess how much the hybrid XLE cost in 2020? The exact same car. This car has been in production for 6 years, and it suddenly got more expensive. Guess how much it cost in 2020? $41,000! Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Somehow they managed to squeeze an extra $10,000 reduce out of you. If you wanted to buy the cheapest car, you're now paying $10,000 more, and they even raised the price of the base. Not only did they get rid of the cheaper trim levels, but they also made the cheapest trim level more expensive. They did both. That's not supposed to be an option. Why? Why? This is Christmas. Why do you think they would do that? Because they want to sell more grand Highlanders. They want to make their cars somehow less but more accessible, and they want to make more money. And can I tell you something? When they've been ordering these parts for 5 years, let me give you a little question here. Let's say you're a supplier, and you sell, I don't know, ceiling fan screws or whatever, tiny little, 24 million millimeter screws, whatever the hell. You sell it to the ceiling fan company, and they've been buying from you for a month. How much are you going to charge them? Maybe, let's say you start off at $1 million. Well, let's say they keep buying from you, and then, 6 years later, they're still buying. Guess how much you're going to charge them? Like $700,000. You don't think that happens to Toyota, too? You don't think they're paying less for the parts as well? Toyota, by, again, raising the price of the Highlander XLE Hybrid and XLE, getting rid of the base trim levels, and making less on parts, has probably saved close to like $15,000. You get to pay more, and less value you get. And now let's get into the nickel and dime lightning round. First of all, digital, little shifters like the one that you see here, that saved them so much money on that complex mechanism to make the shifter actually feel like a shifter. That push button start, again, saved them more money. Piano black plastic. This is the B-roll. This is just stuff that I'm pointing out in this, 2017 Honda Pilot. Again, a digital gauge cluster. They were too cheap to even put the miles per hour, which, I guess is kind of nice because it's technically an OLED, so that kind of counts. But again, they were too cheap to just make it a screen. Anyway, let's get into the official nickel and dime lightning round of stuff that they're screwing you over on. Alright, let's play a little game. Now, this is kind of unfair because it's a base model Chevy up against a $45,000 Volvo, but still, against Toyotas, they would still thrash it. Let's play a little game. How much of the steering wheel is foam? Let's go over to the Volvo. Well, first of all, the airbag cover's foam, and that's about it. The rest is just leather and plastic and wood. Let's go over to the Chevy. What is not foam? Well, the buttons. And that's it. Literally everything else is foam. The bit that you grab on is foam. The airbag cover, I guess that kind of counts. It's hard plastic, but it's foam equivalent. We'll say fine, the airbag cover, I'll give it to you. That's it. Those two little pillars that come down from the buttons are also foam. They're just styled to look like it's not foam. It's all foam. It's like ridiculous. Now, if you got a nicer one, you would get a little silver insert, but again, still a ridiculous amount of foam. The Subaru Outback Wilderness, a car beloved by many, and one that Subaru really wanted to prove the off-roadness of, and something that really helps a car is the tires, so they decided to splurge on good old Yokohama Highlander tires. Highlanders, they're very great, they're off-road semi-off-road driving tires, Yokohama, and excellent. If you can afford them, they're like the best tire on the market. Well, guess what? They're replaced with Bridgestones for the 2026 model year. Have fun, screw you. Is there a light drizzle of snow outside? Just a little bit, a light little covering, and you really don't want to clean off the car? Well, great, you can just use, your little wipers for your headlights, and they'll just wipe it right off. I'm installing these on my Volvo. It's an aftermarket kit, and I'm really, really, really excited. Way more excited than I should be. It's nice to have them. Well, guess what? You don't get those anymore. Speaking of rear wiper, Ford, what the hell is that? I know that's not a rear wiper. Look at that. That thing is 2 inches long. Look at how big that rear windscreen is, and look at how small that wiper is. And you want to know why they put it on there? Just to be compliant, just to tell the U.S. government, oh, screw you, there's a wiper on there. Get out of my face and don't make me comply with code ever again. That's why it's on there. A little complacent, tiny little worm. Do you think that thing's going to do anything when it rains? Of course not. That probably uses the exact same blade, those little window, those headlight headlight washers. My headlight wipers probably have a larger size blade on them than that rear wiper does. My Toyota Prius, a sedan-shaped hatchback, and if you know anything about why hatchbacks need, rear wipers because of the aerodynamics and it shoots the dust at the back window, you should know that this does not get affected by that as much as it should. And if it does, it's on the small window, not the top window. My Prius has a larger rear wiper. A hatchback which probably doesn't even need one because, again, that's why they have them for the dust, and the dust, it's technically on the roof, so it doesn't really matter. It has a larger rear windshield wiper than the Ford Bronco Sport. In what world is that a thing? You know these shitty little room lights which all your friends have, which constantly fall off, and then they eventually tear them all down, and it chips the paint. You're like, wow, these were total pieces of shit, just crap, cheap, bullshit, just garbage, should have never put them on. Well, congratulations. Smack a cheap, shitty diffuser on there, and congratulations, they're your headlights now. Oh, and just a side note, by the way, this is a Hyundai Kona. On the base levels and a few of the trim levels up from the base level on the new Hyundai Kona, it has halogen projector beam headlights. So you get the LEDs as, the daytime running lights, and the halogens and I'm a fan of halogens. I think that's great. But they're halogen projector, which means they're just kind of annoying. They're just slightly more yellow, which I still think is nice. But I'm just going to say, they're taking the LEDs and using them on the DRLs instead of the actual headlights. What does that tell you about vanity in today's society? Anything? Oh, nothing? Okay, that's great. Remember when I said, Toyota usually comes up with some clever way to get more money out of you? Well, guess what? Believe it or not, sometimes they actually do. In this case, instead of just bringing the Toyota Crown over and calling it a Toyota Avalon, and then bringing the Crown Signia over and calling it the Venza, what they did was rename the Avalon to Crown and then raised the price by $4,000. Now, I will be honest. I'm just going to say this, so everyone out loud hears me, because it seems like I'm really taking the piss out of Toyota. Before you get angry and send your pitchforks, remember, inflation is much, 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 much higher than it was. $44,000 in, 2020 is now $51,000. It's the same, so $51,000 gets you the exact same amount, $44,000, I think it's, $46,000 would get you in 2020. So keep that in mind. Some of this, if not most of this, is in fact to keep up with inflation. But again, you have to admit, $15,000 is one hell of a price raise. You really do. You really have to, it's one hell of not to mention the gigantic, and this is really large on cars, the gigantic profit margin there is on cars to exist. So it's not all Toyota. They're not like, we're gonna give you $10 million for cars. They're not all demons in suits, but some of them are. Just to let you know, inflation is high. They do kind of gotta raise prices to keep up with inflation, but not that high, and not that way either. Well, that concludes our super fun lightning round. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe, and let me know your favorite way you're getting screwed over when you're buying a new car. See us all real soon.